Book 3. The Council of the Ages. Chapter 3. Part 3. Accompanying the great king, seated beside his throne on golden chairs, were the other monarchs who made up the Council of the Ages. Behind them stood a huge entourage of secretaries, serfs and soldiers who watched the scene with some trepidation. The group came to stand in front of the great king. The elven knights knelt before the kings and bowed. The monarchs expected the mercenaries to make the same gesture, but they were left with the desire. The mercenaries did not flinch. Everyone remained silent in the absence of bows, an insult to the monarchs, but the mercenaries were free citizens and owed no vassalage to these kings. As he maintained his attitude, gestures of surprise and murmurs shook the area of the advisors. Outraged by the lack of education of the mercenaries, Arion tried to defuse the situation by advancing 3 feet and nodded his head, typical of Caesarea. The first to thank the reverence was the great king with a slight smile. Dalaran Arion, the priestess of the god Elaban. Shanari's smile. The light that illuminates us in these times of darkness that are upon us. Agnorak and Aris exchanged glances. The king of the elves certainly held the young woman in high regard. I, as Lord of Bordalania, custodian of the Hall of Creation, heir to the throne of Label, greet you and welcome you. Thank you very much, my lord. There was a pause. For a while everyone was silent, studying each other. It seemed that no one wanted to talk. In the end one person decided to break the silence. It was Ferdinand de Bussy, the now Grand Master of the White Robes and President of the Council of Magic Orders of the city of Tripulia. An old acquaintance of the mercenaries, protagonist of their adventures when they went in search of the triumph of Elaban. Now he wore an immaculate white robe with elegant ornamentation made of gold thread. He observed the mercenaries closely. Like many magicians, he kept himself very well despite the fact that he was well over 70 years old. It was always maliciously rumored that wizards should use undesirable magic to lengthen their lives, something they always denied. Necromancy and blood magic were totally forbidden by the Great Council. Welcome mercenaries from the Blue Phoenix Company to the Council of Ages. Ferdinand was accustomed to taking the initiative in most of the meetings in which he participated because of his prestige and wisdom. Moreover, it was much more comfortable for the other members of the council. The great mage knew the mercenaries. Do you know what this sacred meeting consists of? The mercenaries looked at each other. They knew something, but most of them had known about the existence of the council when they read the letter from the king of the elves. Kush stepped forward and answered the great magician's question. At the end of the Age of the Gods, wars were fought against the demons. The council was the alliance of all the races of Shanaris to be able to defeat them just before the departure of the gods. Excellent! The last time the council met was before the beginning of the Age of the Damned. The great King Roham defeated the demons of the Black Abyss with the help of the council. But this action, instead of freeing Shanaris, caused the appearance of the damned and the fall of Turkheimak. The mage had impressed the audience with the answer. It had been a long time since the beginning of the Age of the Damned, and few people remembered the commotion caused by the fall of the City of Blue Light and the Elven Kingdom of Iberine. Congratulations, but it is not entirely accurate. Surely you have read the Chronicles of Olbiana. They have a translation error. The great king was not called Roham, his name was Dermidial. Dermidial II to be more exact, the last monarch of the House of Roham. But it seems that in the translations to the common his name was lost or censored, who knows. Here the elves have more reliable records. Ferdinand pointed out, something he loved, although Kush's answer that except for that small mistake was accurate. Only the elves remembered well those dark times and how Shanaris was saved thanks to the mags who later founded Tripulia. We have summoned you here today, as there is a threat that may endanger the whole of Shanaris. The demons are going to return from the Black Abyss. Kush and Arion exchanged looks of surprise. The demons from the abyss are coming back. It was something they did not expect. the demons were defeated and locked up in Itzamir for a long time. "I see that you are surprised," said the great king. "Mortals have a very short memory. There are hardly any records of the early age, even the beginning of the age of the damned." Cush complained. The elf king smiled, "The men always forgetting their past. Demons cannot be destroyed, nor could the gods, so they created a great wall in Itzamir to prevent them from leaving that dark place. They always aspire to return to Sharnaris, and to prevent this there is the Council of the Ages. Dermidial was chosen to close the great black door that communicates with the black abyss. He managed to close it, but unfortunately he was contaminated with the dark poison. Only thanks to the gods who used through the magicians all their power was the threat contained. And so began the Age of the Damned. By the curse of Turkheimak, Elaban was condemned to wander among mortals. By that same curse we elves abandoned men to their fate as punishment for their treachery. The human kings shifted uncomfortably in their golden chairs as they heard the High King of the Elves sentence against them. The Council of Ages is supposed to consist of the 4 primordial races, and there is not an orc sitting in the council. Perhaps the fault of the curse was not with humans. It was Gosberg who spoke in a tone of utter contempt to the King of the Elves. Most of those present were outraged at the words of the Denka, who has always had a great talent for angering any other living being. Orcs are not worthy to participate in this council. They must be exterminated. I jump an elf and get stuck in Gosberg. The protectors of Sharnaris have spoken. The chosen ones of the gods. These chosen ones who under his care expelled the orcs from the place where the gods decided for them to live. Not content with that decision, they confronted each other, provoking a fratricidal war that almost destroyed Sharnaris. And to finish off their great task, they convene a new council to save Sharnaris from the demons and cause a curse that has lasted for more than 5,000 years, until this young woman has eliminated her. Come on, it's something to be proud of. Gosberg's irony was hurtful to every elf. Now a good one was mounted, the king of the elves rose from his throne, many elves put their hands to their hilts. Gosberg's words were an insult to all elves. The kings again stirred in their seats, although they were more amused by the attitude of the little Denka, who had not really told a lie either. Other spectators who were irritated by Gosberg's cockiness cried out for punishment for his offensive words. I do not consent to that monstrance in my house. The king of the elves was extremely angry. Then things got hotter, many of those present drew their weapons, except for Gosberg, who remained extremely calm. But despite the displays of violence, no one dared to launch an attack. Everyone knew his fame, and the truth is that no one wanted to be a victim of his deadly daggers. Your Majesty has lived too long. Arian knew the twinkle in the Denka's eyes all too well. He was thinking of throwing the daggers. He would kill all the kings before they had time to blink.